Hi, we've been doing our Healthy Body Challenge or our Healthy Body program this last couple of days, and part of that is looking at people and their posture and how they move and seeing is there a better way for them to achieve it. So, part of what I've been asking clients is there something you struggle with in class? Is there something that you find is quite hard for you in class for one reason or another? And is there a way that we can look at it that might help you performing better? So, a common theme seems to be that people struggle to get their glutes active, and they've struggled to get their glutes active in scooter, which is one of the exercises on the reformer. And when I've actually had a look at these clients, a lot of them have been in a posterior tilt, so their posture has been in a slightly tucked under position. And if you're in that type of posture, it is really hard for you to then access your glutes. So it's basically it's basically nigh on impossible if you are not in a good starting posture. So I'm going to go through specifically scooter on the reformer, but from a point of view of what we're actually looking for and what we're actually trying to achieve when we do scooter. So the common theme It's just my phone going off as usual. The common theme with scooter is that you want to be over your body, and you can do it low, you can do it at 45, or you can do it upright. But the big thing is that with your standing leg, you want the weight on your standing leg and you want the weight of your pushing leg. So if I'm in this position here, you can see that my pelvis is in neutral, and as I push back, I'm able to activate that glute. So my standing leg is working to stabilize me. My hip and this leg is working mainly from hamstrings to start with, but then from glutes at the end. So if I'm here and all curled under, there's not really anything left for me to do because I don't have a lot of hip range. So when I'm in that curled position, there isn't a lot for me to do. Where if I'm in that extended position here, I can get my whole leg and you can see the range is a lot bigger. Where here, I just can't get any hip extension because I'm in a curled. So what we're looking at is if you're in a standing posture here and you're tucked underneath, you can't get the leg to push back any because there isn't any range there. But if you're in your normal upright posture, you can get a lot more pushback. So from a setup point of view, you want to make sure that your pelvis is in neutral, which for people, if you're tucked underneath, is going to feel like you've got your bottom out a little bit. So you're wanting to think that your sit bones are facing the back of the reformer. Even if you have to come low and think about getting your bottom out rather than being in that curled under position because you've got nothing to work with here. So I would even go lower or stay low to get that to come in. So you want to make sure that your tail and your pelvis is in a neutral position. So if you're upright, you're in neutral. If you're 45 degrees, you're in neutral. And if you're low here, you're in neutral. So that when you then press, you've got all that range to work with. Whereas when we're in that tucked under position here, it's going to be very tight. And that's been another sort of comment that people have made, that when they're trying to do stuff that they feel very tight around the hip. And in terms of that tightness around the hip, if you are, most of us are sat a lot more day to day. So what's tending to happen is as we're sitting and we're curling, so instead of being in that sort of upright position here, we're sitting and we're all scrunched up, our hip flexors get a little bit tighter. And then when we're upright, we keep that position. So again, we've got no movement rather than coming into neutral, which gives us a lot more movement. So it's been very enlightening doing a handful of the assessments that I've done last week and obviously continuing on this week, because it seems to be quite a common theme that, you know, clients have been saying, I don't feel glutes in scooter, it feels all my quads, I don't feel that I'm activating the glute stabilizers, so they're not able to get access to their glute med or their glute min, which is your support leg. So as you're pushing, you want to make sure you feel it here, and that's because they're dropping and they're not using that, they're using their quads again. So, you know, the moral of the story is, if you're doing scooter and you're feeling it in quads and it's hurting your knees in quads, you're doing scooter wrong. And you know, scooter's a glute stabilizer for your support leg, and it's a hamstring and glute max activator for your moving leg. So it should be very much a glute, come hamstring, come stability, come keeping everything moving and static here exercise. And if it's not, then you know you need to have a look at it. Some of the clients have just not been physically able to get into that neutral position, and like I say, not being able to get into that neutral position in more an upright position, so we've had to place them quite low down so they get the idea of getting neutral in their pelvis, which for some is actually really going to feel like they're in a massive posterior tilt, and or sorry, a massive anterior tilt. And again, enlightening for a lot was that most people think flat back, as in lying on the bed, pushing and flattening their spine, is neutral pelvis. So neutral pelvis has got a small little hollow under your spine. When you're standing up, your neutral has got a small little curve here. It's not flat back, so you're upright. It's not tucked underneath. And if you're in a good sort of neutral pelvis position, when you then go and do your scooter, you should have access to glutes. So have a go at that, see if that works. And if you're certainly in our class that is, and you are struggling with glute activation, then just, you know, ask the instructors to check you. We have small classes, like there's a maximum of 10. We can keep an eye on 10 of you and correct 10 of you quite easily. And if you're not doing it well, then we can give you a little bit of insight why. And if you've come in and done your sort of posture work and posture assessment and what have you, because you're part of our healthy body, then you've probably learned why already. So work on that. Okay, hope that helped, and we'll see you next time.